machines are getting smarter, but it seems like our conversations are not going anywhere when it comes to being smart. Nothing seems to be really transforming the life of the individual when you talk of edifying, educating in the proper sense. What do you think is going on? What are we seeing at this time?
All right, thank you very much. I'm always an optimist. And so the first thing I'm going to say is that even the machines are dependent on humans, and ideas are the basics of all those innovative developments that are taking place. So it's not as if human beings have surrendered their ideas or their intellect. It is just that we're living in a new era where we're now beginning to process thought and action in different ways. And there's a merit to it. There's also a demerit to it. To understand this, we need to balance the conversation, to understand all the possibilities for good that we can put AI and machine knowledge or machine learning or machine action to, and also understand where it becomes important for us to set necessary boundaries in order to safeguard humanity. Because it will be a great tragedy for humans to create technology and then cede their own existence or knowledge system entirely to those machines. That would be a tragedy, and that's where we should not go to.
Now, staying on that, we see the rise of intelligent machines, right? And then, like I said, we're seeing outrage. We're not seeing real scholarship, a full spectacle of scholarship. And then that's what I think, though. And so the question then becomes, are we then in that era when we are witnessing the real death of, intellectual politics? Is that what we're experiencing at this moment? And how dead are we in that sense?
Well, there are people who are still upholding standards, and institutions that are upholding standards, and they're running with the ideas that are increasingly progressive and that will shape the present and shape the future. There are also people who have surrendered their capacity to reason, to process action, to other kinds of formations and entities. So we have to also put this understanding in context to be able to properly situate what our challenges with the use of intellect and the application of intelligent action is at this material time. For those who are dead, there are people who are dead, who have surrendered intellect, have surrendered integrity, cultural integrity, academic integrity, even business and governance integrity to machines and all sorts of entities. But there are also people who are still enforcing what is proper, who understand that we have come to an era of immense development, and we cannot wish away the developments that we've put in place, but that these developments must serve the purpose of humanity in a very good and progressive way, and these persons are willing to work towards that. These persons may be in the minority, they may not be loud, but they understand the needs of the moment and they are committed to doing that. Now, our salvation is in these few voices, scattered as they may be, who continue to insist that the right thing must be done. That, okay, fine, AI is wonderful, technology is wonderful, but we must not get to a point where our students cannot write their own essays anymore. Okay? You give students a simple task to turn in an assignment by next week, and everybody is bringing stuff that is processed by, not even processed, generated entirely by AI. Once you create a class of people like that who cannot even think, who cannot write poems, who cannot write stories, who cannot write essays, who cannot even hold conversation, who have no confidence in their own looks. They take pictures and they have to process their faces to appear in a way that they believe that is better. Once we get to that point where humanity surrenders itself completely and outsources its capacity to do some things for itself to the machines and other entities that it has created, we are in a very bad place.
And you think we have not gotten there?
No, we're not there.
What do you think would tilt the scale?
What we tilt is gatekeeping. Oh, it depends. In which direction are we talking about?
In either direction. In either direction.
Well, we need important gatekeeping. Very, very important gatekeeping. And gatekeeping will depend on a number of things. To know what the standards are and how to enforce them. Okay? We must define the standards clearly, we must enforce them clearly, and we must know at what point what we consider to be original genuine human effort in sectors where direct human skill or application of human action is required. We have to know where that has to be and where those skills must meet the capacity of the machines that we are creating.
One of those questions I want to, speak to, I want you to speak to rather before we go into, tying it into the literary and the arts in general is, in whose interest is intelligent politics? In whose interest is intellectual polity? Who does it serve best? Are we a nation that are prepared for it? In fact, is the world really ready for such conversation? Because like you've rightly said, at some point in time, it's not just Nigeria, it's not just Africa, it's about something going around the world, right? So in whose interest is it that we have intellectual politics?
It's in the interest of humanity, all of humanity, that we have a system of governance or a system of operation that is based on the integrity of our intelligence, okay? Because the truth is that intelligence can be used for negative things, okay? But we need to exercise intelligence in a way that serves public good. It's in our collective responsibility. It's our collective responsibility to enforce that, and it's in our collective interest to have that done. But you see, if you move around the world, you come to understand that many power holders believe that a much more robust pace of intellectualism will serve the interests of the masses. And they're afraid of exposing the masses to information, exposing the masses to knowledge. There are a lot of control spaces around the world where people create guardrails around information and knowledge because they believe that once people know what they have to know, certain kinds of strangleholds on power will be impossible. But what they forget is that intelligent or intellectual politics is also in the interest of the political class, particularly in Nigeria, because you need people who are intelligent to run government, okay, to take basic decisions, formulate policies, implement policies, deliver the dividends of governance or dividends of democracy, as we call it in Nigeria. So if we have people who are simplistic, who are even idiotic, who do not have the capacity to process thought, to process ideas, who are afraid of intellect, who are afraid of knowledge, who are afraid of people, of expertise, who are afraid of skills, who want us to be at the most basic level where politics is in get morale, in no get morale, in get power, who you be, who you no be. If conversation remains at that level, it doesn't serve the political class too. Because the world is a competitive space, right? You can take all the money in Nigeria and put it in your pocket. It doesn't make you a Superman when you go around the world. A country that is not your country is not your country. So our people, our leaders have to understand that it is in our interest to have enough intelligence running our government, enough intellectuals involved in the administration of our government. And part of human intelligence is to understand the limits of our individual intelligence, okay? So for instance, if I have to build a road and I'm a governor, I'm a poet. I am not an engineer. I shouldn't be afraid to consult an engineer to serve as a technical aid or a technical advisor who can advise me properly in the interaction of the state with a business entity that is going to build that road. But if I'm someone who is afraid of bringing in expertise, bringing in people who have the depth of knowledge to guide governance, to guide policy, to help in the enforcement or implementation of policy, then I have sold myself low as a leader, and I am of disservice to my polity, to the people that I lead. So we must put intelligence, very, very high level of intelligence at the core of governance. And we must pay attention to the people. I mean, this is to the political parties. They must pay attention to the people that they feed for offices. You can't feed people because they are the loudest touts in communities. They are the people who can bully their way into office. If you do that, you have already conditioned governance to be a dysfunctional space for the people. And any country that's governed by its worst elements can never develop.
Any country governed by its worst element can never develop. Now, let's speak to the literature, politics, and the development of nations, because it's the same space. It's all within the same. There's a time. There's a way in which Nigerians and many Africans look at literature and the arts, poetry, fiction. Not, there's a way to look at it. To a great extent, it almost feels like, hey, this thing no matter. It's not necessary. It's not important, right? And then, how does this affect the nation if the poet cannot be seen as somebody who should really be reckoned with? How does it really affect the growth and development of the nation?
This problem has been with us for a long time, and it's a shame that it is like that, and it continues to be like that. Okay, and it goes to the first issue that you raised about how people celebrate intellect, how they prioritize intellect in the reckoning of their cultural space. As a people, we're not quite there yet. Okay, and the truth is that we do not even treat science any better. Apart from just paying lip service to the importance of science in development, the centrality of science in development, it is not as if we're actually paying really serious attention to that. So if you want to know how progressive a country is, you not just pay attention to how it pays attention to its important sectors of development. The arts and the humanities are very important. There is no advanced society in this world that does not understand the importance of the humanities and the arts. I'm not even talking about the economies of the arts or the economies of the humanities or the economies of talent development and productivity. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just basic investment that shows that people understand the value of such contributions to the health of society. And I'm going to say this because I delivered a lecture at an innovation week in my university. And I was saying something to them that, well, it's easy for us to say, the scientist is an innovator. He can build a television set. It's a very wonderful television set that is going to build for us. And we will celebrate it because it's cutting-edge technology. But what is a television set without your broadcast? What is it without the songs that we play in it, the news that we read in it, the information that will pass through them, the poets that speak on them, the plays, the movies? What is a television set? No matter what the technology that is invested in this, what is it? What is a radio set without it? What is a handset? Whatever the technology that has gone into the creation, if there is no communication, if we're not taking our simple selfies with it and sharing text messages with it, it is the human content that makes science something of value. It is the humanity that the humanities protect and celebrate and create that make human science worthy of attention or worthy of celebration. And this is it. 20 years from now, the best television set that you build this year is going to be obsolete. There's going to be a new technology in place. You want to do away with it. But the song that was played by Fela many years ago will still be alive to be played by successive generations on the television sets 100 years to come. That's the point. That's the enduring power of art.
All right.
The poems will endure. The plays will endure. The novels will endure. They will endure beyond the ephemerality of your scientific creations.
All right.